Hey, gang, you are listening to the Scotsman's Guide podcast, Showcase the Authors. My name is Carl White. I'm your host here for the next 30 minutes as we interview another one of the great authors that was on the Scotsman's Guide here recently, Miss Megan Stevenson, out of Erie, Pennsylvania. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. What a great area that is, by the way.
It is beautiful. The Great Lakes region is, I tell everybody, come visit here.
In the summer.
Unless you're an avid ski and snow person, then yeah, so
I went snowmobiling up there, actually. My first snowmobiling experience. It's wonderful. But anyway, so you work with a company called Preferred Systems, and you wrote an article about Hit the Books, which is giving ideas, some good ideas, by the way, some great ideas on loan officers teaching classes to real estate agents. And so we're going to dive into that a little bit on this episode. And so Megan, great to see you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So first of all, kind of like, what do you guys do over at Preferred Systems? Like, what's the I guess the question is, what gives you the authority to write such a great article?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of our history. Back in, this has probably been about 10, 12 years ago, we decided that we were always in continuing education. So our business has focused heavily on continuing education since our founding in 1998. Okay. We were very heavily focused in medical education, legal education, and insurance education. We never really did anything with mortgage loan officers at the time. However, that has migrated into real estate, and we're starting to go down the path of MLO, CE as well. How we got started is we were at a conference. We were providing CE credits for CEO space in Las Vegas for legal education. And a home inspector out of Ohio came up to us and said, "Hey, can you do real estate CE?" And we kind of just perked up our ears and said, "What does that mean? Like, what would be the benefit to you? You're just a home inspector. How does real estate CE tie into all this?" And so he explained that that's his best way to get in front of real estate agents to market his home inspection business. And obviously you can't market yourself and you can't self-promote, but you can teach content. By teaching content, you become the subject matter expert. Agents are more likely to refer you because they have that personal connection. It's all about networking. And so we started off with that home inspector in Ohio and said, let's figure it out. We realized that it was a complete nutshell of a mess from state to state. And here we are sitting today and with over 48 states approved. And we have any profession from, so we started with home inspectors, we launched into home staging, and now we have lenders and title companies and real estate attorneys. I joke and say I have some unicorns out there because we've been approached by home painters. So home painting companies asking if they can teach real estate agents as a way to get referrals. And so I've got a course on how paint affects real estate values and the selling point of a home. And then, so again, the lending companies, obviously what we're here to talk about today, but we also deal with all of those other professions. So that's kind of our nutshell and our product and our bread and butter of the company. But we do also work with individuals that want to get their courses CE approved, and whether it's insurance CE or real estate CE, we also do CPA CE as well.
So you know, I think in all societies that the teacher is always reverend. You know, it's the old bring an apple to the teacher thing, you know, that we put them on these, and they deserve to be, right? We put them on these pedestals, and it's a great positioning tool. And there's something about, you know, when like the apple to the teacher, there's something about that. Anytime somebody teaches you something, you know, you want to do something for them, you know? And so, hey, you mentioned CE. Let's talk a little bit so for teaching a class, and I'd love to go into, you know, what are some of the topics, and we're going to do that, and how do we get people to show up, and where do you do them at, and those kind of things. But let's talk first about the CE versus non-CE. Do you advocate doing both? Do you like one over the other? Like, which one did you do, CE versus non-CE, or both?
Well, I'll tell you from our learning platform, I have over 400 instructors on my platform currently. And what they do is I do see quite often the home inspectors do what they call lunch and learn topics.
Yeah.
And so we have an entire registration system, and they can schedule something called a custom course. And that's where they can schedule a lunch and learn topic. And so some of those topics I do see are non-CE content. For example, there's a lot of states I can't get anything about social media approved, because social media is kind of just a general, everybody should know it. The states don't usually believe that it's worthy of credit. So they'll do a 1-hour lunch and learn that has to do with, how to market your real estate listings through CE, or how to use Canva and things like that. So things that the state doesn't quite believe is CE worthy, but they still want to teach people about, they can do those lunch and learn topics. I do see the CE component used more heavily. That is mostly because those agents do, if you have your choice, are you going to attend a free course that's just an informational, or are you going to attend one that you get credit for? You might as well.
You have to get the credit. So might as well knock out 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing. Yep. That makes sense. So how does that work on the CE versus non-CE? On the CE, do we, not that we're doing it to make money, but do we charge for that? Like, is there some sort of a requirement that we have to charge them for the CEs, or how does that work?
So actually, like the RESPA rules, we avoid RESPA at all, and we can get around RESPA because they are an instructor for us. So if we have an instructor come on board and become one of our clients, we give them all of the content to teach. We are the school. So RESPA states that a kickback of some sort goes to the actual school provider, not the instructor. So it's kind of like they're working for us, except for it's just a service we're providing. They fall under our umbrella, and then they become part of our school. They teach for us.
So in other words, if there's some sort of like a whatever $10 fee or $20 fee for, do you have to charge for CE classes?
No, we don't. So that's where the majority of our clients do it for free.
Okay, I would imagine
that. For free, because that is the best way to get a full house.
Yeah, so nobody's looking to make $20 here. We're looking for another loan where we make another $3,000 or something like that.
And so since they're offering them for free, we've been asked about RESPA a lot. And that is the easiest way to explain it is, that them getting a referral doesn't benefit us in any way. And we're not a loan officer, so it's not affecting our business versus the RESPA laws. So they're able to teach underneath our umbrella and offer the courses for free. And referrals are just organic. They're not, hey, you have to take this class, and because you took this class, you're becoming, you have to give me your business. That's not how it works. It's I'm teaching to teach and educate and share my experience. Or if you refer me, that's fantastic. But if you don't, that's okay. Yeah.
What about how do we decide what topic? So Megan, I'm going to go teach a class. What in the heck do I teach it on? Because I'm not sure I'm an expert in anything. So how do we, that might be the thought going through somebody's head. So how do we pick what topics to choose, or what's some of the favorite topics that you've seen?
So our heavy hitting courses are definitely, I've got one on what real estate agents need to know about credit scores. So I would hope that most mortgage loan officers would know, the basics of credit scores and be able to follow a PowerPoint on how credit scores impact the mortgage process. We also have one on just the mortgage loan process in general. So from start to finish, what does the process look like? There's a lot of agents, real estate agents, especially new agents, that have only walked a few clients through that process. And so they're able to really get a deeper understanding of the little pieces that happen maybe behind the scenes that they don't know about, that they don't see forward facing, but it happens at on the mortgage loan officer's desk. And then we also have one on government loan programs. So it's a 3-hour course that goes extensively through all the different loan programs that the government offers. And so again, agents might not be fully aware of some of those little ones that are available to individual groups of people. And so they learn pretty heavy kind of what all those are, what the requirements are, and how they can help their clients moving forward.
But again, in your article, Hit the Book, I saw where you had talked about some of the different platforms. Let's talk about that a minute. So when we typically say teaching the classes, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to show up in this room and I'm going to teach this class. Is that the only way that it's done, or do we do this webinars, like what's some of the different platforms that we can do, and why would I choose one over the other?
Yeah, so we were a strictly 100% live pre-COVID. So pre-COVID, we believed in that network, that personal connection, face to face in the classroom, in a real estate office. There's most of the states across the country do allow instructors to come into an office and teach to that office. It has to be open to the public, but if that office has a good conference room, they can come in and teach to their agents. Outside agents are welcome to come in and watch and get credit as well.
Okay.
So that we see that more frequently than anything in a classroom setting. But during COVID, we went, oh man, it's like, face to face is shut off. What do we do? And thankfully, our CEO and owner, he's built our entire platform from scratch. He's an amazing coder and he knows his stuff. But he actually integrated us with Zoom webinar, and we now have our own webinar platform as well in-house. And so we have two different platforms that do the webinar capabilities. And with Zoom, it tracks their attendance, it monitors their seat time, and it's fully compliant and fully approved by any state that we have it available in. I'd say out of all 48 states, at least 90% of them, we can offer classes via Zoom. We also can do on-demand classes, but then you lose that face-to-face connection. So you still see that face-to-face connection with at least a webinar. If you're a good instructor and you're able to, interact, and how we're interacting today, it's back and forth. That's how a class online needs to be in order for it to really generate what you expect and make those connections. But I actually have seen quite a few of our instructors go back to the classroom and go back to the offices because.
What percentage would you say of these classes are being held live in person in a building under a roof versus being broadcasted out through Zoom? What would it have? 50-50, 80-20?
I'd probably say it's close to 80-20 or 75-25.
What, 80% are live or 80% are Zoom?
80% are live classroom.
Interesting. So it's still very heavily on the live. So why would I pick one over the other in your mind? Like what would be, if I'm thinking about doing this, I'm going to contact I read the article and I went, this is very interesting stuff. I don't know if I should do this live in person or on a Zoom. Why would I choose one over the other?
Well, they can switch, they can interchange. It's something that we give to them as a part of
which do you recommend I do? Like what's the benefit of one versus the other? Like if you did one, you do it this way because.
I would say the online version, you're going to have more attendance. You're going to be able to get bigger classes, especially if you use social media as your broadcaster of, hey, I'm holding this course, join, because you can reach the entire state. Think of how big the state of Texas is.
Yeah.
You might be based out of Houston, but you have inspectors or lenders, across the country or across the entire state. You want to broadcast to the whole state. So doing it online, you're going to get that bigger rounded audience, but then doing it locally, you're doing it more private, you're doing it in-house, you're building those really kind of close-knit networks with your local offices. Yeah. And so that's where you're going to have more success in the live setting. And I think that's why we do see that trend. But if you supplement maybe once a week doing an online Zoom just to help get the word out for those people that are not back in the office yet, maybe they're part-time agents and they're only doing it just to supplement their income. Those types of situations, you can reach those people even if they're not in the office on the 9 to 5.
So maybe the answer to that is not, or what I'm hearing you say, maybe the answer to that is yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll do it under roof and market it only to my local crowd. And then and then I would exclude my local crowd and market it to the entire state to grab those ones further out of the area to do a Zoom. That's pretty darn clever, Megan. I've never thought about it. That's a pretty good idea. And
I'll throw you a curveball on top of that.
Give it to me.
We because we are so nationwide spread, we allow every lender to have 2 states and 2 instructors approved under the same umbrella for like the base pricing. So that means you're a loan officer, you border maybe Oregon or Washington, and you're right kind of up there in that niche. If you're right on that border, you might do loans in both states. And so you want to be able to broadcast to both states, then you have that ability because we are so nationwide. A lot of companies that you might work with, or if you set up your own provider, your own school, you're stuck with what you're stuck with. And you might only get one state, but you can broadcast nationally.
All right. So here's the elephant in the room. I'm a loan officer. I'm doing these classes, and I'm going to do both the Zoom and the in-person. I'm going to kind of focus on the in-person, what I'm hearing you say, which has been my experience too in teaching class of realtors as a loan officer and as a branch manager. I get more bang for my buck. I like doing both though. That's a great answer. But I'm going to do it local because I might get more business from it. Mm-hmm. And here comes the record scratch moment, I'm doing these classes not to because I'm a nonprofit organization, right? I'm a loan officer. I'm looking to get some loans out of this, right? Mm-hmm. I'm looking to get some referrals out of this. How do I do that part? How do I make that transition, or how do I get business out of this? And I can see doing the lunch and learns is different, where it's a non-CE. I can do it anything I want and anything I want, and I can pass out any information. On the CE approved, I'm not allowed to give promotional stuff. How do I get business from this, Megan? And being compliant and do it in a cool way. How do I pull that off?
So we have, I play it with planting the seed. So all of our PowerPoint presentations have a slide about the instructor. If you're very early to the class and you have some agents show up and they want to ask you questions before that class time, you have it set to start at 9 a.m. Okay. If it's 8:45 and you've got 3 or 4 people in the room, talk to them, have that conversation, start to talk about, who you are, and, pass things out if you want. Then it's before the class hasn't started yet. At 9 a.m. it's all business. Okay. You get to your about the instructor slide. You have to explain how you're credible. If you walk in and say, yeah, I've been a loan officer for a month. We're going to talk about this course here. So click, they're not going to consider you credible. They'll probably sit through it to get their 2 credits of free CE. And then they're going to walk away and say that guy was crazy. But now you can explain that you're credible. You can explain who you are. You can say who you work for. That is your one little elevator speech about the instructor. And that is included in the PowerPoints. It's approved by the commission. It's a standard education practice to tell who the instructor is and why you're qualified to teach what you're teaching. Yeah. Then you go through the course. You might have questions. There's going to be personal stories. There's going to be things that you're going to pull from your history. You have to do your best to not, self-promote. That's kind of the goal. So they're going to know who you work for. They're going to know who you are. They know what your ultimate goal hopefully is. Yeah. But you're there to still educate them. And as long as you do a good job at that, the referrals are going to come organically. Yeah. But then at the end, class is an hour long. It ends at 10 a.m. And that's when you can say, okay, does anybody have any additional questions about my services? The class has ended. We can discuss on a more personal level. What questions do you have for me beyond content?
So I can, once the class is an hour, I finish the class. At that point, say, okay, the class is officially over. If you'd like to talk a little bit about insert in my services, you're welcome to hang around. So I can kind of in a cool way put a different hat on once I've officially ended the class again. Yep. So very interesting. And by the way, I just want to clarify on the people that's 1 month in the business, they thinking they're crazy. But I've been doing this for 25 years. They still think I'm crazy, Megan. So I don't know that the time has that much to do with that part, unfortunately for me. How do we get them to show up?
That's all about your marketing skills. There are numerous ways you can do it. What we always recommend for anybody that's coming on board and new and they don't have a lot of connections in their area, go face to face, figure out who the education manager is of the real estate offices and talk to them. So in every office, there's usually one person responsible for education management, making sure that all of their agents have their CE, organizing CE events, that person, that's the one they want to get to know. The owner of the brokerage, great. But the other person is going to be the busy bee that's going to figure out, yeah, you can come in. That's a great topic. Oh my gosh. We have one on VA loans, and I happen to actually build it for a client of ours in Hawaii that they said because Hawaii is so full of military bases and real estate agents are often afraid to reach out to the military individuals because it's so chaotic and they're always on base, off base. There's a lot of more stipulations with their housing arrangements. Agents are often afraid. And so it's a course completely on what the VA loan process is, temporary housing situations, helping them with rentals, as well as how to speak to them. So there is an entire section on military language and lingo and making sure that you're being respectful when you're discussing things with officers and understanding the different ranks. And so who you're dealing with. And so that's a great course that it's being taught by a veteran to real estate agents, but he's also a loan officer. So those types of things, we try to mold them and help them get those types of individuals. So when you're marketing these courses, you want to know your audience, but get a hold of those education managers. And if you are tech savvy and you can social media blast, I have some clients that have been doing a lot of success with just LinkedIn and social media and putting like a schedule up on their personal website and just kind of driving traffic that direction.
Yeah, that's what we did. We got a list of agents that were doing 8 buyer sides or more in the last 12 months. Get that list, upload it to Facebook and a custom audience, run Facebook ads. That's worked for us really good too. Yep. Though I noticed in the article you talked about something that reminded me of an old, shouldn't say an old mentor of mine, a mentor of mine in the past, right? Taught me, instead of trying to build a parade, find a parade and then find a cool way to get in front of that parade. And so let's talk about teaching at conferences where, somebody else already has the parade, and now I'm going to get in front of that person's parade by doing content. What kind of conferences are you referring to in the article?
So conferences in general, I know a lot of your big national conferences for your national associations. I'm trying to think for like home inspection. I know home inspection has Home Inspection World that's in Vegas every single year. They often offer CE credits for home inspectors.
Yeah.
You can talk at one of those conferences or at one of the real estate conferences. That's huge. Somebody like yourself that's been in the business a long time, that has taught a long time, reaching out to one of those conferences, they are always posting, hey, we need speakers. We need speakers. We need speakers. Submit your content, submit your ideas. We need your help, because they're trying to change it up. So a lot of times they'll have the business person, they'll have the legal and ethics person. They don't always have a loan officer that can really give them deep, nitty gritty kind of insight to the loan process. And so if there's anything new with the loan process, or like understanding RESPA and some of those other like FERPA and TRID, some of those other laws that have to do with legal and lending in real estate, they need to know. And so those conferences would most likely pull you in. So you kind of have to find them, but if you can talk at those bigger audiences, especially real estate focused audiences, that'll be huge. Yeah,
that's worked for me really well, the conferences. And for me, a good one has been like the local real estate board of realtors. We have 2 different ones here. And like you said, Megan, they are looking for people. They welcome people to come teach a class, because they put the butts in chairs, but they're not great at providing information. They're relying on their members. Just like, hey, before I do that, let me ask you something. And I don't know the answer to this. So this is a real question here. All these are real questions, but this is one. So I'm at a CE class. I have to be careful what I'm saying, but I want to follow the rules, right? I don't want to be doing anything non-compliant, of course. And so I've taught the class. Can I follow up the next day and put my loan officer hat on? Say, hey, I know you were at the class yesterday. Am I allowed to do that without being? Because I don't like gray areas. Is that a gray area doing the follow up like that?
It is kind of a gray area.
Okay.
You are allowed to. I mean, it's if they registered for your course, they took your course, you are the instructor of record. You're allowed to use their information. It is part of our terms of service and our student agreements that when they sign up for a course, their data is shared with the instructor, and the instructor may use it for marketing purposes.
Okay.
So that is something that, yeah, as part of our school, now you teaching through a realtor association and then reaching out, that might not be something in their agreement that allows you
I get it.
option to reach out to them. Quite often our instructors will reach out. We do a survey, a post survey. Our system automatically generates a course survey. So you get feedback on how you taught, what they liked about the course, anything else that they could see could be improved. But then they also, they get the follow-up certificate. And if we quite often do have instructors will send out a follow-up like, thank you for attending the course. If I can be of any assistance, please contact me here. More generalized, not so much, hey, I'm having this special promo, use this code, la-di-da situation to really kind of pull them in. But it's more of a, hey, thanks for attending. I really hope you liked it. And please be in touch if you have any questions.
Hey, do you find what a particular time of day is better than the other, like mornings versus lunch versus afternoon? Have you ever noticed anything on that?
I mean, right now, let me take a quick gander at what I've got scheduled. Nationwide, I can read off some times to you. I mean, I've got some 2 p.m.s, some 9 a.m.s, 10 a.m.s, noon, 4 o'clocks, 10, 11 a.m., noon,
All over the place.
2 o'clock, 3:30. I don't usually, there's one at 5 o'clock one day. I don't usually see them that late. When I see those ones, we have seen an upward trend of them being held at like post-work wineries.
Yeah.
Well, the 5, 6 o'clock ones might be a wine and learn kind of situation, which you're not drinking alcohol when you're teaching the course.
Yeah.
That's completely, not allowed. However, it's held at that location. If they want a wine taste after the CE, they're already there.
Hey, one last thing. You talked about doing door drawings in the article. And again, if you haven't read the article for our listeners, be sure to go over to the scotsmansguide.com and check out the article. But you talked about in the article, Hit the Books, about door drawings, door prizes. Tell me about that. Why would I do that? And what would be some examples of a door prize, and how do I pull it off?
Yeah, so it can be anything really. For door prizes, if you've got logo gear, if you've got just things you can hand out, you might have a voucher for a free CE class with a promo code. Our system can set up promo codes, so if you are charging for them, $5-10 each, you could give them a promo code as on a voucher. It kind of, the possibilities are endless for door drawings. You could have a $10 gift card to Starbucks because everybody loves their Starbucks coffee.
Yeah,
any of those things, you're still not giving away something of significant value in exchange for a referral. You're giving them something of like, hey, thanks for showing up. This is cool. Don't give away TVs.
Or football tickets.
Or a brand new Beamer, none of those things. But
don't do that.
The little things, those are always just ways to generate interest and get people to show up. But offering them for free really is a phenomenal way to get people in the door.
I've always, I think sometimes people might have a misconception on prizes that it needs to be something of significance. And man, my experience has been exactly what your experience has been. It really doesn't matter what it is. I always think of back when I was a kid, Cracker Jacks. They actually used to have, they don't these days called the choking hazard, come to find out, but they had all these little prizes, it couldn't have cost them a penny, literally, to put these stupid little prizes in a box of Cracker Jacks. And we did not buy, me and everybody else was buying that stuff, wasn't buying it for the corn and the peanuts. It was what was the prize that I got inside. We'd always go right to the prize. So people love winning something. Yeah, almost it's just the dopamine burst we get of winning something as opposed to what it really is. So
you could probably give them stickers. I remember in grad school, I remember I was learning about education and our professor gave us stickers. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten a sticker since I was in like fourth grade.
Yeah.
The best thing ever. So something just goofy little things like that are phenomenal. I mean, we're all kids at heart still. So
me for sure. Megan, is there, I see we're at the top of the hour here. Is there something I should have asked you today that I didn't? Did we cover it all? Anything I missed?
No, I think we did cover it all. I would just like to tell everybody about the website they can go to. It's www.lendinginstructors.com. And again, we're Preferred Systems Incorporated out of Erie, Pennsylvania. You feel
Give me that website again.
Yeah, it's www.lendinginstructors.com. And then if they would like to email me, it's megan@preferrededucation.com, MEGAN @preferrededucation.com.
Great. And I appreciate that. And at the bottom of your article, has a little bio there that has your links and phone numbers too, in case somebody's driving or walking the dog around the neighborhood and they go look. And it's Scotsman's Guide, spelled with one T. So SCOTSMAN guide.com, and go look for the June edition of Hit the Books. And you can read the article that Megan Stevenson covered. And I'd recommend you go read the article, because there's definitely more in the article that we didn't touch upon today just because of time. Megan, thank you so much. Looking forward to your next article, and appreciate you being on the podcast here today with us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And for our listeners, thanks so much for letting us be a part of the day. Myself, Carl White, and the whole team over at Scotsman's Guide appreciate it. And we also appreciate leaving the reviews. So we just started this podcast series not too long ago. And so help us get the word out. So tell 3 of your favorite loan officer friends about it. I promise you, they'll thank you for it. We will too.